And great, we started. So, hi, I'm George Anthony. Now, I'll be the at this point taking Michael Johnson's role as the primary representative of the United Nations for Pathways to Peace. I want to first of all thank Michael. Michael has been a role model for me for as many years as I've been connected with the International Day of Peace. I've always watched Michael, the way he conducts himself, his passion and his dedication for peace. So the fact when Avon said if I would like to take over this role that was Michael's, I was in awe because I knew what Michael was, who he is, and what he stands for. So I'm George Anthony, and I'm going to move this meeting now quickly over to Avon Mattison, who is the foundation of this program, of this organization. Avon, please take the mic and introduce yourself.
Hello, this is Avon Mattison, and I am delighted to be part of Pathways to Peace and have been with the organization at its founding. And it is one of the heart of what Pathways to Peace does is to build cooperation amongst very diverse and groups and projects and programs, and to focus on how all of us together, when we are working in concert, can build a culture of peace that is of benefit to all. We also have always worked intergenerationally and interculturally, and a great focus of our expression from the beginning has been with the United Nations, and demonstrating that local and global and personal and planetary peace are inseparable. And through our representatives and our attendance at UN meetings, we have been working very, very much with UN from the very days of the founding of Pathways to Peace. And so our representatives from Pathways to Peace are basically the primary representatives out in the world of Pathways, and critically at the United Nations. So an example is that Pathways to Peace was very involved in the drafting, helping with the drafting of the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child, is invited into many, many meetings that often NGOs are not invited into because we don't have chapters and we don't have a particular agenda that we try to advocate, but we really work along what you may see on the Pathways to Peace website. The peace, basically, that everything is a pathway to peace. So when you look at peace through international law and human rights, or peace through education, or peace through restorative justice, or whatever it is, it's all about peace. And we've also been, one of our aspects has been to work with the UN throughout all these years and all of the different programs. And now the most current one, of course, is with the Sustainable Development Goals, and with upcoming significant conferences that have to do with many, many multiple issues. So whatever the particular focus point is for each of you, you will find an opportunity to engage with others from around the world, but also engage representing Pathways to Peace at the United Nations in the issues to you, but also in a great focus for Pathways to Peace that will involve many of the conferences and the events and the high-level meetings that are occurring at the United Nations right now, amongst so many immigration and migration issues. You know, the upcoming UN Commission on the Status of Women, the upcoming very important conference on oceans, and on it goes. So just to say that you represent, in a way, an expression of the heart and purpose of Pathways to Peace, and you are the ones that people associate most in an engaged way at all different levels and all these different conferences with. So we are very honored that you have that you've chosen to represent Pathways to Peace. And I would like to now turn it over to Michael, who has been the primary UN representative for Pathways to Peace. And he will speak about the annual highlight day that we focus on, the International Day of Peace, but knowing that Peace Day is every day. And we also, one of our great joys is to foster emerging peace leaders, which is what all of you are. Well.
All right. David, thank you for that. It was good hearing that again from myself.
Mm-hmm.
And George, thanks for your kind introduction.
You're welcome, Mike. Yeah.
And welcome the new youth reps. It's great to have you here on this call. So the reason I'm on this call today, I'm in the passing the torch modality. So I'm here to help pass the torch on to George. I'm really grateful, George, and happy that you're kind of standing in leadership that way. And how I first met you was through your students that were giving a demonstration during International Day of Peace, and I was totally blown away by that. Yeah. And I said, whoever's leading this group, I want to meet, and that's how I got to know you, George. So I've always been very inspired by your work and continue to work with peace and also developing youth leadership.
Thank you.
So I've been, even though I'm passing on the torch, I'm still going to be involved in Pathways to the level I'm able to be involved with, but in a different area. And I currently started a film production company called Legacy Films International, and it's been taking a lot of my focus and energy lately to jumpstart that business, but it's doing pretty well so far. I even said to give a little context about the International Day of Peace, which is the highlight for Pathways, and I had a very interesting introduction to that. And it started, I guess I was, right after 9/11 hit, I had this aha moment. It was a defining moment in my life that I needed to be more active in the peace movement. And at that time, I had a full-time personal and business coaching business. I was coaching full-time, had an international practice. And I decided to step away from that partially to get involved in develop more peace in the world. And I didn't know how that was going to play out. So long story short, I got a phone call from a CEO of a large yoga organization called Kripalu Yoga Institute here in the Berkshires. And he was a friend of mine, and he told me that he got invited by the spiritual caucus at the United Nations to come and be a part of that, and he was too busy to be involved. So he said, why don't you stand in for me? And I decided, okay, I'm going to give that a try, because it's basically the spiritual caucus is it's a group that's focused on maintaining the practice of silence within the United Nations. And I'm a meditator, so I had it kind of poked my interest, and I'm saying, oh, okay, I'm going to try it. So I went to the spiritual caucus. This was probably in back 2002. Had a really wonderful experience, and during after we had our meditation, I said to the group, wouldn't it be great if there was one day that we celebrated peace on the planet? And one of the members handed me a resolution for the International Day of Peace and said, the day already exists, here's the resolution. So I held the resolution, and in that moment, I said, this is what I'm going to dedicate my life and time to. Because it hadn't really been known in my community, and I said, well, why doesn't anybody in my community know about it? So I decided to step in and help to advance its participation globally and worldwide. And so that was my introduction. And then I got invited to represent Pathways to Peace through that connection. And then from there...
Hello?
Hello?
Hi.
Yes.
Hello?
Hi, Manar. Hello.
Yeah, Manar. Hi, George.
Manar Marouf.
Hello?
Yes, hello.
Yes, hi.
Okay, thank you for joining us, Manar. I'm glad you were able to
Thank
get
you.
in.
I'm sorry about that.
That's quite all right.
Yeah.
We have Michael Johnson now giving a little bit of background to his role as the primary representative for Pathways to Peace. So thank you for joining us, Michael. Please continue.
Yeah. So I spent this was like 2002. The next, when was it, until like last year, 2016, really focused on developing International Day of Peace at the United Nations and in my community and around the world. And I believe like last year, it went mainstream, and that was a signal for me that my role in promoting the Peace Day, I needed to change my focus now because it's now mainstream. And I knew it became mainstream when Facebook promoted it without us even asking them to do so. It just went on their homepage. So in my service to Pathways, I traveled the world. I went to Italy, Panama, China, many trips to New York, California. Got to meet some incredible people, and it really enhanced my professional life, my spiritual life, and my satisfaction as a peace builder. So there's a lot more to that story, but I'm just really grateful to be involved with Pathways, and I'm really happy that George is taking the primary rep role and involving more young people and kind of carrying the torch. And what I like about Pathways is it really operates on a spiritual level. It's not a religion or related to any religion, but any person, anybody that has a spiritual path or a religious path or even secular path, if they follow their heart and intuition in guiding them to be a peacemaker, peace builder, that's how we work. That's how I believe Pathways operates. And then in that, we form a cooperative circle to share our own passion and our own ideas and work in a very collaborative, cooperative format. So that's how I like to operate in groups, and that's been my experience with Pathways. So just a little bit about me, and be glad that, if anybody has any questions or as we move along. So but thank you for your attention, and looking forward to the rest of and thank you, George, for pulling this together today.
You're welcome, Michael, and thank you. And I just, like I mentioned, Michael mentioned that the way he saw some of the things I did was work with my work through students. Yes, I'm an educator. That is my background, but I also believe, as Michael stated, that our students then inherit the leadership positions and continue to be the voice and speak for those voices that are silent and stand for those individuals who have no one to stand for. And Pathways to Peace has always played a vital role in that regard. So to be in this position is enlightening and humbling. When Avon mentioned that I can go into this role, I did say to her that I would love to put together a team of peace builders that I feel that we can work, as Michael said, in a dynamic structure regarding the concepts of this world, this planet, and its direction. And as I stated before to Avon and Michael, the currents that are coming out of Washington are at some levels dangerous, and our roles are now needed more than ever. So the team I was able to put together in a short while was a team that consisted of Dena Mekawi, a young, passionate leader for women's rights and gender equality, and a powerful voice for women and women everywhere, Muslim voices, Christian voices, all voices. And Dena is passionate about building an image of strength. Manar Marouf is also one of the new representatives. And I met Manar last year at a UN conference, and she spoke powerfully and passionately for the refugee issues that are now at the forefront of people's minds about consciousness. And Manar and I both said that we have to get beyond the words at these UN meetings and really move people towards action. And Manar has been extremely diligent and passionate and dedicated in pushing this context forward regarding the plight of refugees and the suffering that is just we have not seen since I would say World War II regarding the refugee plight. So Manar has a very powerful platform to stand on, and I will do everything I can to sort of give her that platform and a position to sort of move that agenda forward. Manar Elzaky, I know she's a microbiologist, and again, I worked with Manar with leadership for children with disabilities. Manar, I saw her do wonders. She is a peacemaker, peace builder, and a big issue that's going on right now in the world is global warming and what is going on with our ecosystems. And now with our current administration moving Mr. Pruitt forward as the head of the EPA, if that happens, that is a very dangerous precedent that is going to inflict a great deal of damage on this nation. So we must be extremely prudent as watchdogs, I suppose, in making sure that our environment is protected. Because as I stated recently, what are we then leaving for the children if we are going to deregulate many of these regulations that were put forth in the 1970s, in the 1980s, in the 1990s regarding clean air, clean water, and protecting our environment. We're seeing a little bit right now with DAPL, with the indigenous peoples in North Dakota, the Sioux Nation. They are trying to protect their land, trying to protect their water. And as aqua peace builders and peacemakers, they're doing everything they can. But we're also seeing what recently happened when President Trump, Mr. Trump, to send an executive order moving the pipeline forward. I know the Sioux Nation, indigenous people of the Sioux Nation, and others have just filed a court, document to prevent it again, and we can only support them and pray that their efforts are successful. So that's where we stand. My background is in peace building and education, but primarily peace building. Right now I'm working with a program called Emerging Global Leaders, and our project this year is creating a student manual via PowerPoint and written for students everywhere throughout the world that can use, that creates dynamics of leadership, dynamics of effective negotiation, and the dynamics of effective and sustainable peace building and peacemaking. And we want this in the hands of 12-year-olds, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19-year-olds in their respective communities, respective schools. And we want them at the forefront, teaching effective peacemaking and effective leadership, sustainable peacemaking leadership. But it's essentially a toolkit. So that's what I'm doing now. But I'd love to turn this quickly over to Dena Mekawi, Manar, and Manar Elzaky. I know some of us are on time constraints because we have work today. Some of us are working and we have projects. So Dena, if you can introduce yourself to the group, a little bit of your background, please take the mic, as they say.
Sure. Thank you for the introduction. I'm Dena, and I'm 26 years old, and I've been given the opportunity to be a youth representative for the organization called Women's National Book Association, and I've been representing that organization, I believe, since 2013. It was right after I went to do Miss Arab USA, just because I was, I just had a passion to engage specifically in my Arab community, using my experiences of, low self-esteem, due to, facing stereotyping. And I found purpose in what I was doing through sharing my experiences and empowering my community. So I was given the opportunity during my master's, when I was doing my master's at PAVE, to represent Women's National Book Association. And honestly, since then, it gave me a roadmap to my future. Just being able to share your experiences and using your voice as a tool for change, it really empowered me to not only use my experiences to empower others, but to really engage in a global level. And through that, it really pushed me to become a social entrepreneur. And what that means is I basically do social impact strategy for brands and public figures and leaders that want to include media inclusion in mainstream culture and mainstream media. And most recently, I launched Silent Resilience, which is a media platform that engages through the arts and through self-expression. We highlight voices and empower and understanding the lens of resilience and the methods in the artistic way of people overcoming resilience. And we eventually are planning to host an event in New York where we are going to engage, hopefully with the support of the UN, engage celebrities and then also the everyday people that are striving for resilience. And at the same time, we're also bringing about cultural conversations in the dialogue. And we're hoping to create, an event in New York and hopefully taking it to global markets, Egypt, Dubai, London. And the main idea of it is to, create awareness of different cultures. And we're hoping every year we're going to choose a culture. And in that culture that's chosen, we speak about the culture and the different issues, but also we're going to allow people to dress in that theme and in that attire. And the idea is to celebrate, regardless of who you are, whether you're a public figure, a political leader, or a person that's striving for resilience, to understand cultures in a creative way through performances, through global art that we're hoping to showcase. And we're also hoping to include the three, I forgot what it's called, but basically it's like the virtual reality and showcasing, the life of people in developing countries. So that's really what I do. And I'm very excited to be given the opportunity to represent Pathways to Peace. George has been he was my high school teacher, and he's just an example of what it means to be a great role model as a teacher. He really, when I was in high school, growing up as an Arab, there were certain, topics that weren't, like in my culture, they're looked upon as like a taboo to speak about. And he was really, I think I took psychology, and he really spoke about the different issues, real life issues that teenagers don't really talk about within the community of my Arab community. So he was a great role model to me. And, years later, here we are, and I'm really grateful for that. So.
Thank you, Dena. And yes, I think as an educator, I always believe in speaking to the truth and push my students forward in their thinking. Thank you so much. Does anyone have any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions?
I would love to just, Dena, I would just love to jump in and say, we've spoke briefly about this before because it's at the heart of what we've done with the Culture of Peace Initiative that was in 1984, that is intercultural and intergenerational, as I spoke of. And we have done somewhat similar, but you've taken with your ability with social media and branding and all the other skills you were bringing at such a young age. So just know that I would love, and I know George would too, to have a conversation about how Pathways to Peace, as we spoke of before the recording, can participate and do some co-sponsorship in how we might involve the Culture of Peace Initiative. And I know that Mohammad will be very interested. As you know, he's in Saudi Arabia, but he has a very deep, he was inspired, connected with, I think, what we do with the Culture of Peace and Peace Day, but he has a program that I know that when you bring it to that area, he'll be very interested. So,
awesome.
No, I look forward to that conversation, perhaps with you and George, in the near future.
Yes, definitely. That'll be awesome.
Yeah, the Culture of Peace Initiative has had over 4,000 diverse organizations from different cultures, including even refugee camps involved with it.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Sounds great.
Very good. Thank you so much, Dena. Manar Marouf, we'd love for you to introduce yourself and tell us about your background as well as the things that you're working on right now.
Okay, thank you, George, and hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be on the call. Like George said, my name is Manar. I'm currently working on developing an early reading curriculum for refugee children in Iraq with the International Rescue Committee, where I have been volunteering as a refugee resettlement intern and a community interpreter for the past year. And so, what would you want me to tell? My academic background or professional background, or what?
A little bit about your background.
Yeah?
No, that'll be wonderful. Yes, please share with us.
Okay, great. So I came to the U.S. from Syria in 2013 on a scholarship by the Open Society Foundations. I did a dual master's degree in Sustainable International Development and Coexistence in Conflict Resolution at Brandeis University. Before I graduated, I came to New York and started volunteering with a women's organization that has a consultancy status with the UN, and they were working on the Women, Peace, and Security agenda, and I was basically working in the office and at the Security Council, covering events and about women, peace, and security agenda, and tracking which countries are implementing that and which countries aren't. And I had a wonderful opportunity to work with a group of Syrian women activists who have been working to promote peace on the ground and at the same time be present in the peace talks. And I had an opportunity to interpret for them in a variety of on a variety of occasions during the Women, Peace, and Security open debate on women, peace, and security, and the first UN Summit on Refugees and Migrants. I also had a great opportunity to work at Columbia University as a research assistant. And then, during my time here, like George said, I've been trying to do as much as I can to work with refugees, youth, women, from where I am here, and try to be impactful, not just here where the policy is being taken, or when the decisions are being taken, but also back home, whenever I can. And I'm really happy to be with Pathways to Peace. I'm sorry I haven't been very communicative lately because I have deadlines after deadlines coming up on my current project. But I'll be more, persistently in the coming future.
It's all right, Manar. We're just laying the groundwork right now. We're using these first 2 months to sort of just lay a foundation to build on 2017. So we have wonderful expectations, and I'll discuss after this. I know I'll be attending a panel, an international panel at St. John's University in March, in St. John's in Queens. If you can join us that day, or if I can put you on the panel, I'd love to get your voice up there and give your presence in that capacity. So after this meeting, we'll reconnect, and I'll put you in touch with an individual at St. John's University to see if you might be interested on sitting on this panel, and we'll cover that topic. So one of the things that I wanted to discuss before I move on to Manar Elzaky is that yes, Pathways to Peace.
Before we go to Manar Elzaky, I just want to say to Manar Marouf what I say out loud to everybody else. What she's doing with this curriculum is so extraordinary, and it very much connects with some of the work that we have done in the past that has been, but has taken it. Manar, what you have done is you are reaching those that ordinarily won't be able to remember what their culture is because of, and this is an very extraordinary gift that you are giving, and work that you are doing. And just know that with Pathways to Peace, that you will be given every support that we can possibly give you. And it is, again, very much something that has been, we used to have a curriculum. Sorry, there's something on the line, but that we used particularly with children in war zones, and also with people in refugee camps, and we haven't had that active for several years. And just know that that I personally will stand in support, as I will with each one of you, joyfully. That is one of my one of the joys that I do have, being of support and mentoring in any way that I possibly can, and I know Michael will do that as well. But you can just count on that, and being able to link you with some others that might be able to be.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And I'm happy to know that like Pathways to Peace shares the same mission I am working, towards. So I really appreciate that.
Thank you, Manar. Does anyone have any other questions for Manar Marouf? And then I'd like to introduce Manar Elzaky. Before I introduce Manar, one of the issues is global warming, and it's something that's part of the sustainable goals that are being introduced at the United Nations. And Manar has a background in microbiology, so I did ask her to join the team and bring her expertise into the conversation, especially when the UN has conferences and briefings dealing with climate change. And there is a conference coming up in March dealing with that, so I'm hoping that Manar will be able to attend that conference, and I'll send that information accordingly. So Manar Elzaky, can you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, everyone. My name is Manar Elzaky. I'm 22 years old. I'm currently a grad student at NYU, pursuing a career in biomedical engineering. First and foremost, I'd like to thank Mr. Anthony. After high school, I kind of took a hiatus on all the peace movements, and I wasn't as proactive, I guess, because school took all my time. So I'd like to thank Mr. Anthony once again for the opportunity and allowing me to join this Peace for Pathways. Although I'm pursuing a career in biomedical engineering, I'm currently a microbiologist in an environmental lab. And what we do here is that we do a lot of testing for hazardous material in the environment, like certain and specific infrastructure. I'm not sure if anyone's really aware of asbestos, and we do a lot of testing in lead and all that sort, all the stuff that people are generally afraid of and what causes more fatalities and all this stuff. I personally have seen the effects of climate change when I went to Peru this past winter. It was actually last year I went to Peru. I was doing my thesis research for my undergrad. My concentration wasn't really on climate change. It was more on hepatitis B. However, I saw how much climate change has an impact on, the indigenous people. So, when people say climate change isn't real, it actually really is. In these remote islands where people, they rely heavily on the natural resources, and how climate change can affect this, it really does impact their well-being in general. I'm going to have to keep this really short because I have work to get back to. But as Mr. Anthony said, environmental protection is something that I'm well acquainted with at the moment. And I see daily what goes on in New York, like majority of, the contamination within New York. And we believe, we tend to think New York is a very clean area. However, it's not once you get to work on the backside of everything. I'm not sure if everyone's aware of Legionella and Legionnaire's disease, something that has killed dozens of New Yorkers this past summer, and it's still up on the rise, and these things are circulated within cooling towers. So we have a lot of clients who come in, and I believe my lab, as well as a lot of other labs here located in New York and outside of New York, they're really acting on the environmental protection and trying to be proactive in helping the environment. And given latest, policy changes of how, Donald Trump wants to go ahead and implement changes in the Environmental Protection Agency, that poses a potential threat on our well-being when it comes down to it. So this is something, I'd like to go ahead and pursue. And I'm looking forward to Mr. Anthony's guidance in the peace conferences that he wants me to attend. And any questions, I'd be willing to answer.
I do have one, Manar E. That is, I'm so glad you're interested in this, because this is an area that I particularly have great interest in, and we've had no one except Mohammad, who attended COP21, was representative for Pathways to Peace there. We didn't have the funds for others to go, and we all kind of have to self-fund. And just to know the following is that Pathways to Peace put on during a high-level political forum on the SDGs, particularly focused on climate change. We put on a panel with one other organization during that high-level political forum last July, I believe it was, in preparation for Paris. It was extremely well attended, and we have had no UN representative except for Mohammad, who is always traveling, to be able to represent in New York the very important meetings that are happening now regarding climate change, and also what is occurring with the oceans, the Great Ocean Conference that is coming up in June. So I'd like to speak with you about that, because we have very greatly needed that. And if I could be there attending these, I would. As I explained at the beginning of the call, Pathways to Peace has been involved in every single UN conference, beginning with the first Earth Summit that began way back in the 70s. But we have begun, even though we weren't incorporated by that time, but we have been involved in every single UN conference in a very substantive way, either in the prep comms or doing special panels, or been invited as a special NGO to make presentations. So I just want you to know that your work on climate change and your deep commitment to this and understanding what we are doing to pollute ourselves. So thank you, and so others can.
My pleasure.
All right, so thank you, Manar, and I'm hopeful that this team, along with Mohammad and Abdul, will create a place where dialogue, discussion, and action is enacted. So I want to thank Michael Johnson again. Michael, thank you for guiding us all these years, and thank you for your presence, especially your spiritual presence. I always felt when you entered the room, people always said, "Wow, Michael's here," and it meant that we can move forward now. You always create that special and safe place for us. So I look forward to future conversations with you, and I wish you love and luck and peace regarding your new initiatives in video and film producing.
Thank you, George.
You're welcome. And if anybody would like to have any closing statements, Avon or Michael, I'd love to give you the moment as we bring this meeting to a close.
Just two things. One is the unique thing about Pathways is our organization is very kind of small in number, but huge in impact. When you think about where Pathways helping to initiate and organize the first International Day of Peace in 1983 and how it's expanded globally, that's a big deal. And that's the kind of the spiritual dynamic and energetic dynamic that Pathways holds and has and continues to build on. So you folks coming in now to participate, you're now a part of that global impact. The other piece I want to say, considering kind of the chaos and the violence and trouble time that we're in right now, that it's really, really important to take care of yourself, meaning however you can, through prayer, meditation, active in your church, synagogue, temple, mosque, however you do it, to always take care of your heart and your own inner peace, because that, I believe, is what will help you and us as a cooperative team move forward in a very positive and impactful way. So it's basically, and I'm saying that for myself too, because when I see the news and I get like, react to it, I always have to go back to breathing and stay, not to get too angry, but to try to come back to my center so that I can have a clear mind to make good decisions. So that's my advice.
All right. Thank you. Yeah, I think a lot of effective peace building, peacemaking is having a prepared response rather than reacting in a way that's going to take us out of our center and create unproductive moments, and we can't claim back. You're right. So action requires positive reactions oftentimes, and I look forward to this team. And Avon, closing remarks. And
yes, I do. And I'll just, as an elder who never thought that all that we have worked for the last, I've been involved in the field of peace building, which, by the way, Pathways to Peace helped to establish at the United Nations, that field. Having been involved with so many different issues over the years and worked so very much with our UN team, to see what is being risked, I just want to say that two things. I'm just so inspired and so grateful to you, George, for bringing these wonderful new young representatives who are have already accomplished so much in their young lives and are deeply, as one for old souls is a term often used, but who are deeply engaged in different areas that are of great issue, and just know that you are peace builders and you are extraordinary peace leaders already. And one practical aspect is that please do let know together, because we are a community, a team together. Let all of us know what meetings you are planning to attend in advance, so that if another one can attend, you can coordinate with each other, or perhaps another can say, gosh, would you be sure to cover the following or whatever, and then write brief reports that go to all of us after any meeting you attend, so that two reasons is, one, that we can keep informed and learn from what you have experienced and share that information, which is so important, with one another. And also, everything that you write is of the Department of Public Information Annual Review, for those of you that are connected with DPI, but also as part of the quadrennial report with ECOSOC. And this also allows us to be invited in to meetings that often we are not invited into. Most NGOs can't be invited into because of our consistency over all these years, nearly 40 years, of being major contributors to various conferences, meetings, prep coms, etc. And I just bow to each of you for who you are, your willingness to represent Pathways to Peace, and how we can work together and support one another.
Thank you, Avon. Beautifully spoken. And as always, both you and Michael have been an inspiration for many generations of young leaders. And we look forward to continuing to move this message forward through our words and our actions. So we will stay in touch via email, via texting, phone calls. We do have some conferences coming up. February 16th, I have this International Day of Peace. March, I believe, a climate change conference in March. I will forward that to Dena. To Manar. And look for UN DPI conference messaging, I suppose, and emails. And as Avon said, keep us in the loop with when you do attend reports. Manar E, we need to get you a ground pass, so we need to work on that. And we will continue to move forward. So thank you all. And we look forward to an enlightening and exciting year 2017. And
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. May peace follow you always, and blessings.
Thank you. Take care.
You.
Bye.
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 Take care.